one-lane maps, and you're going to get a chance to see that as we start off game number 1 right now. There may only be one lane, but you don't have to just go to that lane, and a lot of our best players actually choose to go off the beaten path and flank around with some cool artillery placements, maybe bringing out some anti-air. There's a lot of strategies here at play.
All right. Cherry bringing that German infantry, and Dirvel having that US armored. Let's see this different strategy that they're going to actually have here.
So because some of our viewers might not have watched the NA broadcast, just to break things down a little bit, basically you've got your U.S. and kind of German forces, and they have infantry, armored, and aircraft kind of heroes that we're using here. You can already see some strafing fire from the aircraft, the artillery coming through.
Nice controls. And that's, of course, you do want to loop the planes. I think that's one of the hardest micro in the game, but once you really get used to all that control, I think you have the potential. Anyone has potentials to be good at this game.
Yeah, absolutely. It just takes a little bit of practice. If you're having difficulty, don't worry. Other people have found difficulty there too.
Like you and I.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, looping the planes was actually something that took me a lot of time to learn. So let's actually keep an eye on what's happening here. So you're going to be noticing the German armor actually kind of flanking through, helping along with the artillery to really deal with what was shaping up to be a very strong U.S. Army push.
Already setting off a few great units coming down from Cherry.
Now look at this. There's 2 artillery kind of set off to the side. That's really hard to deal with.
Artillery, and there's one more right next to it so that it can actually just take the shots and defend.
Now, kind of what we're not seeing from that angle was the return fire from the German artillery.
Oh, yes.
And it looks like it actually was able to take out both of those, so a very strong entrenched position actually just totally gone.
Artillery is, of course, taking the space away. I would say that's the key point of winning all the games from. And having a lot of troops, of course, will help end up building pressure and, of course, break the HP onto the tower. That's exactly what these both players are looking for.
Yeah, and you know, the towers are not very easy to take down. It takes a lot of concerted pressure. So you're kind of rarely going to be able to just run in there and take them out pretty quickly, although we did see a couple of cheesy strategies to do that yesterday.
Already unlocking the final unlock and having the anti-tank gun there. He wants to really control the high zone. Oh, but that's gone. That's almost gone with just a few more shots.
Yeah, one more shot. Oh, actually, the last artillery almost taking out that anti-tank gun on the high ground, but it survives with a sliver of HP.
Great set of actions already happening. If you have that control with the anti-tank.
Oh, it's so crazy. Look at the range on that. That's insane.
It actually will basically catch anything that's in range, which is basically half of the map or more. That's why if you control the high ground just like this, Dirvel's got a strategy here. Good setup line of defense, and then after that, he will start attacking.
Now, one way to deal with really entrenched long-range artillery, kind of like that anti-tank gun, is to use your Air Force. And even though we see a couple of planes out, they're not being targeted to take that out. Although I guess, maybe they'll be moved over there in a little bit.
Yeah, Cherry from the German infantry does have the dive bomber, the yellow one you see. It's just style. I think it's about to come, but there are lots of the small airplanes in defense for Dirvel.
Yeah, you can't just send your aircraft out there without protection. Otherwise, they're just going to get picked off. It'll be wasted money. And let's kind of take a look at where our players are putting their money into. It looks like, at least from Dirvel, he is really prioritizing just every armored unit he can get his hands on.
And a lot of artillery and a lot of the Sherman tanks, the smaller, cheaper ones to decide it all. But that's only possible if you have really good micro, because you have to take control on a lot of things. Unless you just put everything down on the lane and it just goes automatically. Yeah,
and Dirvel hasn't actually even unlocked his highest tier of units at all yet, so his most powerful artillery hasn't even come out yet.
Has the anti-tank, but it's going to come out later. It has some potential with the Calliopes.
Oh, this is getting really difficult to deal with. You
just some extra pressure because of that Jeep only, but it's not going to really damage the tower too much.
Oh, that anti-tank gun finding a lot of good hits on those tanks in the back. They're not actually being controlled at all, so just kind of sitting idle when they could really play a role in this push.
Let's see what Cherry wants to focus, because Dirvel already got a really good setup on the hillside, so it's going to be really hard to even go outside of the base for Cherry.
Oh, and look at that artillery fire just decimating any form of a push there. Very, very strong, intense position. And it looks like you can see from the giant, omniscient hands that Dirvel is actually just continually reinforcing a very strong position.
Where is that dive bomber? That's the key, and there are no anti-air from Cherry right now, so you do want to get all the tanks possible.
It's just so important to be able to deal with that. That position being so heavily entrenched is giving him just a little bit by little bit bigger and bigger advantages.
Okay, never mind, Dirvel even has an anti-air. He's got a major... Look at this setup.
How are you going to deal with that?
Crazy against all the quick ones. Anti-tank for the maximum range, basically sniping onto the towers now, basically.
How can it reach...
When the planes come, there's already an anti-air set up.
He's so well prepared. That position is so entrenched. I would love to see anybody deal with that.
One big missile.
Well, there is a care package coming down. Let's see if anybody decides to go for that immediately.
Dirvel's got it. He's already on the way with the Jeep.
Ah, there it is. Big money coming his way as if he needed any more help.
Oh, yes. I don't think he even needed that. He's been the player to take down our first turret of the game, and it looks like he's about to take down the second one in a row, G-Clef. It's going to be tough. How does Cherry come back from? He needs really good micro coming down from the planes. And actually having a few more, I think it could be possible. It's not impossible to come back. His space is still safe. But the main problem, as you can see, the power in front is going down.
Man, each one of these maps are going to play so differently. This single lane, you can see the troops coming right down it. They're all bunched up in one place, so it's easy to clear out that big wave with like artillery fire. But the problem is that the rubber band of units can snap back the other way. And I think that's what's about to start happening as Cherry's troops start to counter push.
Does have some setups for bigger wave pushes happening later on into the game, but the moment all the units go out from the base, they will get deleted from all those high-range, long-range artilleries, anti-tank guns, and also plus more. And even Dirvel setting up lots of Jeeps just in case they get sniped from really fast-moving vehicles.
Those Jeeps are something that I think a lot of players might overlook because they're very light, they're very cheap, they die to pretty much everything. But they're
here it
so
comes.
important.
Okay, did get a lot in the set, so that setup is gone. But I believe Dirvel had, on the left top, it's not gone, so...
Yeah, well, there's a couple of plateaus that look very similar. So
a few more.
It's easy to kind of overlook that.
So Cherry did spend a lot of money for that, though, so it's actually another chance for Dirvel to push a little further. Artillery is shooting directly at the towers.
Well, we've already got 2 towers down. Cherry is at a massive deficit, and look, it just continues to rain down from on high. This German infantry, there's no counter to this. It just keeps firing away.
And the defensive artillery is busy defending the wave of troops coming, not actually hitting the offensive artillery coming from. Wow, this is amazing action.
Yeah, and look, you can see that Cherry's starting to react to this, to move some tanks and artillery into position, but it might just be a little bit too late, G-Clef.
Yeah, there's a second one, but the towers, not the final one, there's also one more on to the other side, but that doesn't really care about the wave too much. And finally, it seems like Dirvel is really getting on control of this game totally here.
Yeah, the German artillery, you can see that it's firing at the wave quite a bit instead of dealing with the enemy U.S. infantry artillery. And I think that you have to be really vigilant, not just kind of setting and forgetting your units, but making sure that you're always targeting what they need to be, like using artillery to deal with artillery that's killing your towers.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think Cherry wanted to go to the side where the wave is not at, but Dirvel was already ready, and the anti-tank guns are just so powerful. They will actually shoot you all the way from the far. And whenever Cherry wanted to move out, and all of his units were damaged, basically.
Well, I mean, Dirvel's basically got this unlocked.
The final tower.
It's about to go down here, G-Clef. I don't think there's anything going to stop it. Oh, it's just a couple of hits away. One more volley, and there it goes. All 4 turrets destroyed.
And only the base remains for Cherry. how do you defend against this? The amount of units you see at the bottom on the red side. Look at those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you can already see these tanks pushing through here. Dirvel just kind of autopiloting the Shermans. They don't even have to be very strong tanks. They're just there to buffer, and the artillery behind them, these M40s just firing away nonstop.
Yeah, Dirvel even getting the crocodile tank. I don't know exactly where it's at right now, but that is so strong, costs a lot of money, but it's always worth to buy. Because it's got a lot of firepower in it.
Oh, it's just so... I mean, how are you going to deal with that? I mean, if you can't deal with the little tanks, how are you going to deal with the big ones? Look at the artillery. It keeps firing away. And as if he needed a bigger wave to push behind it, this just keeps building up and building up. The pressure is so high.
And the base is taking damage from the troops. Look at the amount of army that Dirvel has been pressuring here. Some reinforcements are coming out from Cherry, but I don't think it's enough. And look at the setups. Oh, man, 1, 2, 3. They have parked their way.
I mean, it's just all over but the crying at this point. I think for Dirvel, he has an insurmountable advantage, just built by little bit by little bit.
Oh, base is going down.
This is going to do it here, G-Club. We got the final hit points. That's it. GG. And it's going to be a victory for Dirvel in the end. What an incredible game.